Everyone expected me to blow up the minute Lydia did something impulsive. I'd always been the steady one but not the quiet one. Yet calm settles over me now, because calm means control, and Lydia just gift-wrapped me proof of felony real estate fraud. The stakes are more than sentimental square footage. Our parents' hospice bills remain, $178,000 owed to St. Agnes. Mom's scholarship fund for underserved girls needs the house's rental income. And buried beneath the rose garden is a time capsule Lydia doesn't remember, the deed's original wedding copy sealed in glass per Dad's quirky humor. I'm the only one who knows its GPS pin. The first sign of rot arrived as a casual text 6 weeks ago. Hey Ev, random question, you remember where Mom kept property records? Can't find original deed anywhere. I screenshot, archived, replied with a non-answer. Flag 2 hit my credit monitor app, an inquiry from Riverland Title Services for identity verification. I froze my credit within 15 minutes, filed an FTC fraud alert, and ordered my LexisNexis consumer file. The notary's stamp thuds like a pistol shot on polished oak. Congratulations, Ms. Carver, the realtor whispers, sliding a single-page deed across the conference room table. My sister, Lydia, flashes a grin worthy of a Home and Garden cover shoot and murmurs, worth every penny. I freeze in the doorway, an uninvited ghost, watching the realtor's pen hover over ink still glistening on my forged signature. The house we inherited together, our childhood fortress of blanket forts and blizzard cocoa, just changed hands for $2.1 million, minus my consent. Lydia tucks a platinum strand behind her ear, oblivious to the fact that I'm recording every syllable on the phone I'm pretending to raise for a cough. I'm Evelyn Harper Carver, 36, structural engineer by profession, sentimental archivist by compulsion. I design earthquake-proof skyscrapers in Seattle, but my emotional epicenter rests in Cedar Falls, Minnesota, in the red brick Victorian on Maple Street that Mom wallpapered with sunflowers in '92. Dad died of a heart attack last spring, Mom followed 6 months later, cancer finally cashing its cruel check. There will split everything 50-50 between Lydia and me, naming me executor because, quote, Ev knows the math. Lydia shrugged then, already planning her next Instagram renovation reel. I sacrificed a Tokyo Tower project bonus to fly home monthly, catalog Dad's vinyl, digitize Mom's recipe cards, and meet with historical society reps who deemed the house a candidate for landmark status, which would have netted tax breaks and preserved the block's last true Victorian. Lydia sacrificed, well, nothing. She visited twice, mostly to measure rooms for future walk-in closets she'd never asked me about. Next came Lydia's late-night phone call, voice sugar-spun, have you ever thought about simplifying? Selling the house, funding Mom's scholarship in one lump sum? I responded with silence long enough to make her babble about adulting hard decisions. I hung up, opened County Recorder search, found a pre-escrow lien release stamped with my digital signature. Except I never use digital signatures, only ink or encrypted DocuSign with a 2-factor token. I flew to Cedar Falls unannounced. A for sale sign already planted in the brittle November lawn, Lydia's influencer handle glittered below the realtor logo. Snow flurried around it like mocking confetti. Inside, renovation dust coated my mother's piano. Contractors bragged they'd opened the floor plan, knocking out the butler pantry holding Dad's war medals. I felt rage's tremor but photographed everything instead. Data, not drama. The appraisal report left on Grandma's oak buffet bore my forged e-signature again. This time dated October 19th at 9:12. That second I was presenting seismic retrofit findings to Washington DOT, captured on Zoom. I saved the calendar log and meeting recording. Lydia's fiancé, Trevor, cryptobro with a man bun, cornered me in the gutted kitchen. Relax, he said, brandishing a kombucha. It's just equity unlocking. Your parents would vibe with passive income. I noted the phrasing, equity unlocking, passive income. Buzzwords that cloak theft. I excused myself, stepped outside, and planted a trail cam aimed at the carriage house door. Its motion sensor would ping my satellite phone each time contractors came or went. Within days the pings multiplied, midnight visits by a mobile notary van, boxes loaded into trunks, realtor Lisa Carlson arriving after hours. I cross-referenced license plates through a friend at DMV, found they belonged to an LLC controlled by Trevor. Flag 4, the glaring crimson one, came via DocuSign email to my junk folder. Your deed transfer is ready for final approval. The document listed sale price $1.8 million and sister proceeds release requiring my e-seal. I clicked decline, triggering DocuSign's audit trail that logs IP address and timestamp, proof Lydia attempted unauthorized digital consent. I booked forensic document analyst Angus Yates to trace any pen pressure anomalies if they forged ink. I hired real estate attorney Marisol Kim to pre-draft a lease pendants to cloud title once sale recorded. I ordered a 2 terabyte cloud vault, filled it with every screenshot, voicemail, and body cam clip I could gather, even Lydia's Instagram story where she gushed about pre-closing jitters. Meanwhile, I played sisterly supportive over FaceTime, letting her ramble about color palettes and ROI. Each conversation captured to evidence folder. Lydia and I were never oil and water, more like water and carbonation, same substance, different temperament. She fizzed, I flowed. At 7 she convinced me to sell painted rocks as healing crystals, pocketing the quart. At 15 she threw a house party while I covered for her by rerouting Dad's pager to my line. She always sought spotlight, I became the lighting rig nobody noticed. College forked us, I slogged through physics labs at UW, she vlogged marketing hacks at a state school before dropping out to monetize lifestyle content. She landed brand deals hawking ethical bamboo athleisure, made in low-wage factories. Mom winced but still double-tapped Lydia's posts. Dad retreated to his workshop, restoring pocket watches. When Mom's chemo began, I relocated projects to remote work, logged medication times, balanced the mortgage. Lydia flew in for precisely 13 days across 18 months, recording caretaker diaries with soft focus filters. Her audience cried, I restocked syringes. Dad's fatal collapse stitched final blame lines. Lydia sobbed, posted a montage, then pressed for immediate estate division. I argued probate caution, she called me gatekeeper. Power dynamics tilted. Executor title equals authority, yet my emotional fatigue made me pliable. She seized that softness to pitch quick sale buyers. I offered compromise, rent to a preservation-minded family, she called it sentimental hemorrhage. Mom's last coherent words to me were, protect the house, it keeps us inside its walls. Not keep the house, protect it. The mandate felt less about bricks, more about boundary lines against Lydia's impatience. After the funeral, Lydia introduced Trevor, flashing a sapphire ring Dad never got to see. Trevor spoke in VC idioms, scale, liquidity, exit strategy. He eyed the Victorian like an IPO-ready asset. I researched his previous ventures, 2 dissolved, 1 under SEC investigation for coin-offering misstatements. I flagged every discovery. But I smiled at holiday dinners, let him pour Merlot, collected receipts. Because storms require barometric drops before thunder, I measured each millibar in silence. Lydia mistook my stillness for surrender. She didn't realize structural engineers design flex so towers sway yet stand. And she certainly didn't recall the time capsule Dad and I buried when she was at cheer camp, inside a waterproof tube, Polaroids, a 1998 penny, and the original unrecorded warranty deed transferring title solely to us upon Dad's final mortgage payment. That deed, witnessed by our then-neighbor Judge Holloway, held a unique ink serial Dad joked would outlive any photocopiers. The glass bottle rests exactly 3 feet under the rosebush spelled honor. Only I know, only I checked last week, still intact. Which brings me to tonight, Lydia's forged closing. I record the notary stamp, note the escrow file number, RF66821. Escrow closes Friday at 4 p.m., funds disperse Monday by 9 o'clock. That gives me 72 hours to implode the deal. I step back, texting Marisol, sale finalizing right now. Deploy lease pendants first thing. Need TRO draft ready. She replies with a thumbs up and a tiger emoji. Her version of game on. As the realtor ushers Lydia toward champagne flutes, I slide down the hallway, photographing file cabinets. My silent phone pings with trailcam motion, contractors hauling out Mom's antique settee. Evidence of asset stripping. Calm, I remind myself. Calm documents, rage destroys. At midnight I'll meet Angus to examine the wedding deed. Dawn will see me at the county clerk's office, filing the lease pendants before the forged deed records. Trevor's LLC won't know until the title insurer calls. And Lydia will awake expecting escrow champagne, but taste citation subpoenas instead. Because when someone tries to flip the foundation you stand on, you don't scream, you reinforce, then let their own leverage crack beneath them. The investigation starts now. It is 1:17 a.m. when Angus Yates and I rendezvous in the fluorescent hush of the 24-hour copy shop across from the regional airport. The clerk blinks at our request for private booth time, then goes back to scrolling TikTok. Angus, all tweed and owl glasses, opens his pelican case like a magician revealing secrets: calibrated loupe, Raman spectroscope wand, hyperspectral camera that looks vaguely alien. I slide the deed Lydia just signed across the laminate tabletop. The ink is still more fragrant than the clerk's bubble gum. Angus murmurs, "See the microglitter? Gel pen, Zebra Sarasa, Series 2019. Your true signature on file is Parker Quink, blue-black, 1995 recipe." He flicks on ultraviolet, and in the eerie violet glow the forged strokes fluoresce separate from the notarized seal. "Really sloppy," he adds, capturing a raw image that embeds GPS and timestamp. Evidence chain begins. I log each reading in my engineering notebook: page number, time, instrument calibration. "Do you see pressure variation?" I ask. Angus nods. "Depth uniform, like someone traced over a light box." He overlays pressure topography. Lydia's forging hand produced identical force on every downstroke, a mechanical impossibility for natural signing. My phone vibrates, trail cam alert. A new photo shows Trevor loading a rented U-Haul with Mom's Cedar Hope chest. Snowflakes swirl in headlights like guilty confetti. I forward the image to Marisol with a simple caption: "Asset pillage, 1:26 a.m. She responds, "Good for punitive enhancement." Angus seals the deed in a static-proof envelope, signs across the flap. I initial. "This will stand," he whispers. I pay his night rate, $17.50, worth every cent. As I leave, the copy shop clerk finally looks up. "Big plans?" he asks. I smile, "Just renovating my family." Cold air knifes my lungs outside. I upload the hyperspectral files to the encrypted vault, check some matches on first try. The violent clarity of digital truth steadies my pulse. Lydia may have glamour, but I have geometry and chain of custody. By 2:10 a.m. I'm behind the wheel of Dad's old Jeep, heater roaring, dictating audio notes: "Forgery confirmed by UV fluorescence anomaly, Sarasa ink batch year misaligned, spectrograph peaks at 681 nanometers, not 645 nanometers as an authentic sample." Each syllable feels like mortar between bricks of an unshakable case. The night horizon blushes gray-pink. Dawn will catch Lydia unprepared. 7:42 a.m., courthouse parking lot. Marisol Kim strides toward me in a cranberry wool coat, steaming coffee in each hand and the eyes of someone who slept 5 minutes on adrenaline. She greets me, "Your sister's escrow officer is already in, I saw his Benz." We duck into her Prius, heater blasting, as she flips open a leather file. Lease pendants drafted, TRO in skeleton form, and a civil conversion complaint for after we nuke title. She hands me a pen. I sign in firm strokes: Quink blue-black, Dad's favorite, and dated December 3rd. We stride into the recorder's office. Fluorescent lights buzz louder than yesterday's betrayal. Marisol whispers, "Remember, smile like this is routine." At the counter I present the lease pendants. The clerk, Mrs. Delgado, peers over bifocals, then recognizes my last name. "Oh, the Maple Street house? Beautiful place." I nod, steady. "We're preserving it through the historic registry." A half-truth, but preservation through legal freeze counts. She stamps time, 8:03 a.m. The clock behind her still flips from 8:02, we beat the recording cue. Marisol exhales. Escrow can't disperse if clouds on title. We share a conspiratorial grin. My phone pings. Aria, my best friend and IT forensic analyst, has finished scraping Lydia's Instagram backups. She texts, "Got her story drafts," caption, "Selling the deadweight, cashing dreams." She attaches metadata showing draft timestamp 2 days before Lydia asked about deed location. I sent her a heart emoji and add the file to evidence/intent. At 9:15 a.m. We meet Aria in the county library study room, the one with thick cedar doors my father donated. She sets up her laptop, projects DocuSign's forensic log. Notice the IP 192.10.77.13? That's Trevor's crypto mining rig. She zooms in on the geolocation map, blinking pin exactly at his loft address in Minneapolis, time-synced to the forged signature request. Marisol whistles low. Beautiful chain. Aria grins. Wait, there's more. They tried to deepfake your voice for bank verification yesterday. I intercepted the call audio from Trevor's AWS bucket. Listen. She taps play, my synthetic voice saying blandly, yes, I authorize full sale proceeds to Lydia Carver. The cadence is wrong, too evenly paced. I feel fury rise, but I write, deepfake sample length 17 seconds, spectrogram flat. Aria places a flash drive on the table. Checksum recorded, MD5 hash unique. She squeezes my shoulder. They underestimated vanilla engineers with forensic hobbies. I laugh for the first time in days, then sign her expert witness retainer for $1. Back at the Victorians' gutted living room, plastered dust drifting like eerie snow, I lay blueprints on the floor, actual ones of the house and metaphorical ones of payback. Stage 1, already executed, lease pendants blocks title transfer, freezing escrow. Stage 2, emergency temporary restraining order to halt removal of any fixtures or antiques, citing Minnesota Statute Section 561.01, waste injunction. Marisol will file by 3 p.m., attaching trail cam footage of Trevor's U-Haul rendezvous. Stage 3, criminal referral package, Angus's Inc. analysis, Aria's IP logs, DocuSign audit, deepfake audio, forged notary seal, delivered to county attorney, seat to state AG's real estate fraud unit. If Lydia thinks civil court is the worst outcome, felony charges will rewrite her mood board. Stage 4, public opinion inoculation. Tonight, I'll post a calm explainer video from the front porch, citing Dad's wish for scholarship funding and revealing the sale suspension to ensure legal clarity. No sister shaming yet, just context. Lydia's influencer brand relies on curated relatability, sunsets and faux-sage advice. My measured transparency will salt her PR soil before she can seed it. Stage 5, private showdown in Mom's sewing room tomorrow at noon. I'll invite Lydia under pretense of discussing scholarship logistics. Hidden body cam will capture her reaction when Marisol hands over the TRO and criminal referral copy. Offer, sign a quitclaim renouncing sale, transfer her half to the scholarship trust, or fight charges carrying up to 10 years. Final stage, if she balks, I dig up Dad's time capsule deed, have Judge Holloway, now retired, authenticate his 1998 witness signature, and file a quiet title action, nuking every chain of title after that date. Lydia's interest dissolves entirely. Nuclear, but controlled blast. I fold the blueprints. Trevor's crypto buzzwords versus my multi-stage load path, this is no contest. 4:30 p.m. The fragrance of sawdust lingers as Lydia glides into the Victorian wearing a cream trench and designer snow boots too white for Minnesota slush. She smiles as though cameras roll. Ev, why so dramatic? Trevor said you're filing sabotage paperwork? I keep my voice steady. Sabotage? I'm preserving shared property. I gesture toward the parlor, where Marisol waits, laptop open. Lydia's eyes narrow. Who's she? Counsel, I say. Sit. She sinks onto a dust-covered settee, carefully crossing legs. If this is about the escrow, relax. We'll both profit. You didn't even want to stay in Cedar Falls. Marisol slides a folder across the coffee table. Lease pendants, TRO draft, preliminary fraud complaint. Please read. Lydia flips pages, laugh brittle. You can't delay escrow. The buyer's wired funds. Escrow won't release while title is clouded, Marisol replies. Also the county attorney has the forgery packet. Lydia's hand stills. Forgery? She forces a laugh. Ev, you signed digitally. Maybe you don't remember? I lean forward. The digital signature occurred from Trevor's IP address at 3:14 a.m., while I was on a Teams call with 30 engineers. Deepfake voice attempted bank verification yesterday. We have the audio. Color drains from Lydia's cheeks, but she rallies, flipping hair. Technical mix UPS. We'll fix it. I'll split proceeds 60-40 if you withdraw. 60-40 of stolen property is still stolen, I answer. Dad's medical debt and Mom's scholarship remain unfunded. She stands, paces near the torn-out pantry wall. This house is rotted sentiment. Think bigger, investment condos by the river. Trevor has investors. Marisol speaks gently. Think immediate, Minnesota Statute Section 609.625 forgery, penalty up to 5 years. Multiply per document. Lydia's voice wavers. You'd send your sister to prison? I'm sending evidence to prosecutors, I reply. Your choices determine the rest. She spins toward me, eyes wet. Mom always loved you more, you know. I was the wild card, you were the prodigy. I inhale memories of Mom braiding Lydia's hair, Dad cheering Lydia's ballet recitals. Mom loved us differently, not more. She asked me to protect the house. Lydia's shoulders droop. What do you want? Quitclaim your interest to the Clarkson Girls STEM Trust. Take 10% of net sale when we landmark and lease to the Historical Society. Enough to clear your credit cards, maybe start anew, legally. She bites her lip. 10%? After all my planning? After all your forgery, Marisol corrects. Footsteps echo, Trevor bursts in, snowflakes on his man bun. Babe, lawyers called, escrow froze. He notices us, scowls. You again, he sneers at me. I stand. Any items removed from the property are evidence. U-Haul footage uploaded to cloud. Trevor laughs. Good luck proving anything. Digital stuff's easy to doctor. Marisol lifts her phone, taps play. Trevor's voice emanates, drunken brag on a Discord chat. We used Ev's old passport scan, AI cleaned it up. His smirk fades. Lydia whispers, Trevor, you recorded that? He glares at me. Counterfeit clip. Marisol shrugs. Expert authentication already underway. I set a fountain pen and the quitclaim form on the table. Deadline noon tomorrow. Sign, or the complaint files at 12:05. Lydia's hands tremble as she lifts the pen. Trevor hisses, don't you dare. We fight. She meets my eyes. A tear tracks down her powdered cheek. Ev, if I sign, do you testify for leniency? I testify to truth, I say softly. Courts consider cooperation. She signs. Ink bleeds real, imperfect, human. Trevor curses, storms out. Lydia collapses onto the settee, sobbing. I want to hug her, but evidence custody requires distance, for now. Marisol stamps the quitclaim with her portable notary seal. Done. File tomorrow, record after TRO hearing. Lydia whispers, I just wanted to feel free. I kneel, finally placing a hand on her shoulder. Freedom built on fraud caves in. But foundations can be repaired if you stop drilling dynamite holes. Through broken lath above us, late-day sun filters in stripes, illuminating motes of dust swirling like slow confetti. Part of me mourns the fracture, part of me feels the house breathe easier, as if its timbers sense justice aligning. Stage 5 complete. Tomorrow's filings will begin the public cascade, but tonight, the first structural crack in Betrayal's facade has been braced. I taste sunrise iron on the December air as I wait outside the recorder's office for the doors to unlock. At precisely 8 a.m. the clerk posts the daily filings list, and there it is in black toner, quitclaim deed, Carver, Lydia Clarkson Girls STEM Trust, instrument number 20251211001. My chest loosens. Phase 1 of the consequence cascade has begun, the dominoes fall fast. By 8:17 a.m. escrow emails both sellers to confirm the title defect. The message lands on Lydia's phone while she is still wiping overnight mascara from her cheeks. I know because she sends a trembly voice memo. Ev, they're demanding immediate cure or they'll cancel and keep a $63,000 earnest money dispute in arbitration. I reply, consult counsel. Short, clinical, because compassion now would muddy the evidence chain. At 9:02 a.m. Riverland Title Services calls me directly. The agent's voice strains polite. Ms. Carver, we've received a lease pendants from your attorney. Are you willing to release if your interest is settled separately? I answer, not until full investigation concludes. He exhales, whispering that his underwriter just opened a fraud claim file, policy exposure up to $2 million. 10 minutes later, County Attorney Dana Whitaker leaves me a voicemail, formal charges under review, expect a decision by Thursday. Her tone is flinty, a sound Lydia has never heard directed at her. While paperwork churns, physical losses mount for Lydia. Trevor's crypto portfolio, stored on an exchange that flagged his account for suspicious activity, freezes at 11:30 a.m. I learn this from Aria, who forwards a screenshot of Trevor's furious Twitter rant. Decentralization is dead when regulators collude with jealous siblings. The tweet gathers exactly 4 likes and 30 laughing cry emojis before he deletes it. An hour later, his leased Maserati LX Cube gets towed from outside a microbrewery for unpaid tickets. Inside the Victorian, our contractor, who never met a lawsuit he liked, locks the tool shed and mails Lydia an invoice for demobilization charges totaling $8,775. He tells me quietly, I ain't touching boards when ownership's murky. I nod, slip him coffee gift cards, and add that invoice to the damages ledger. Mom's neighbors join the cascade. Mrs. Kruger texts, saw movers yanking stained glass transoms last night, thought you should know. I forward her message to Marisol, who attaches it to the TRO request as evidence of waste. By lunch, Judge Samuel signs the emergency order, all fixtures, furniture, and finishes must remain on site pending court permission. Deputies post the order on the porch like a scarlet letter. Trevor tries to peel it off. A deputy warns him the paper's removal is a misdemeanor. He backs away, cheeks redder than his imported cashmere scarf. The biggest domino crashes at 2:45 p.m. when Lydia's talent management agency calls her live on Instagram. She forgets to mute her mic, informing her that home improvement sponsors are pausing collaborations pending brand safety clarifications. One rep says, "We can't have a house of error situation, Lydia." Comments flood in, someone types, #forgeryflipper. She ends the stream mid-sob, but screen recordings proliferate within minutes. Even my old high school friend Ollie, now a local journalist, phones asking for comment. I provide a single on-record sentence, legal measures protect both history and honesty. He prints it above a photo of Lydia's realtor sign lying crooked in fresh snow, the listing marked inactive in bold red. Social media feasts. A true crime TikToker stitches Lydia's weepy livestream with my calm porch video, titling it The Engineer vs. The Influencer. Within 12 hours the clip reaches 500,000 views. Comments morph into moral judgments, give the scholarship the house, and Trevor belongs in crypto jail. Lydia's apology post, silver-lit selfie, caption learning and growing, please respect privacy, gets ratioed 3-to-1 with the shovel emoji. Trevor, ever restless, tries spinning himself as victim on a clubhouse audio room at 6 p.m. The probate process is outdated gatekeeping of assets, man. Aria records the session, he calls me a controlling spinster. I smile when I hear it, every insult adds to defamation potential, though I probably won't sue, truth is stronger than damages. Realtor Lisa Carlson becomes an unexpected secondary antagonist. On the local radio morning show she insists, forgery allegations are exaggerated, I saw both sisters sign by Zoom. Her voice quavers under the host's questions about timestamp discrepancies. Within an hour Marisol emails her a cease and desist statement constitutes false representation and possible notary fraud. Lisa deletes her social accounts, but bloggers screenshot everything first, embedding her headshot next to the words, "Maybe you should check IDs next time." Meanwhile, my engineering firm's HR flags the media exposure. My supervisor calls, "You okay?" I say yes, outline the timeline, send him copies of filings. He laughs softly. Only you could turn family drama into a meticulously sourced case study. He later tweets, and I only discover this because Ollie retweets it, proud of our structural engineer for reinforcing ethical foundations at home and work. The public fallout tilts definitively my way. But fallout carries shrapnel. Lydia texts me late, Dad would hate us fighting in headlines. I reply, Dad hated shortcuts. She leaves it unread overnight. The courthouse smells of lemon polish and tension at 9 a.m. Wednesday for the preliminary TRO hearing. Fluorescent lights glare off marble floors that once impressed me on school field trips. Today they feel like an X-ray table exposing every motive. Judge Eleanor Samuels perches behind the oak bench, silver curls pinned like no-nonsense laurels. She reviews Marisol's thick binder, taps her gavel. Ms. Carver, she means Lydia, you're accused of forging co-owner consent and removing fixtures contrary to equitable interests. How do you plead? Lydia, cheeks pale, murmurs, no contest to temporary order, Your Honor. Her lawyer, a prune-faced man named Wallace Briggs, tugs her sleeve, but the words already float like confession. Trevor sits in the gallery, tapping restless fingers on a cryptocurrency key fob. The deputy eyes him. Marisol presents the forensic parade. Angus's UV photos dance on the projector, fluorescing forgery like neon branding. She plays the deepfake audio. The gallery gasps at the uncanny mimic of my voice. Aria, sworn in, explains IP hashes and Ethereum node traces in plain language. Essentially, the signature originated from Trevor's rig, not Evelyn's office in Seattle. Judge Samuels nods, scribbling notes. Briggs attempts rebuttal, calling Trevor to testify that all signatures were consensual. Under oath, Trevor claims Evelyn gave verbal go-ahead on a conference call. Marisol calmly clicks a slide, my Verizon call logs, 0 conversations with Trevor the week of the alleged approval. She asks, Mr. Rosen, can you identify the day and approximate time of this call? Trevor stammers, phone's update logs weird. Laughter ripples, judge taps gavel. Briggs pivots to emotional appeal, my clients only sought to optimize the estate's value, reduce medical debts quickly. I stand, heart steady, and address the court when invited. My parents' debts are painful facts. But fraud is not financial care, it is theft disguised as efficiency. The scholarship my mother envisioned cannot be funded by laundering her memory. Judge Samuels encloses her pen, eyes softening as she peers at Lydia. Ms. Carver, your quitclaim indicates recognition of wrongdoing. The court appreciates cooperation but must still protect the public interest. She grants the TRO, orders Lydia to remain 300 feet from the property except by appointment, and sets a criminal arraignment date for 2 weeks out. Trevor mutters, this is tyranny. The deputy escorts him out for whispering obscenities. Briggs requests Lydia be allowed to retrieve personal items. Marisol consents, under my supervision, with body cam rolling. Judge approves, warns that removal of any fixture will trigger contempt. Gavel lands. Showdown 2 ends. Outside, snow flurries swirl like resetting pixels. Reporters descend. Lydia faces them, mascara streaks betraying last night tears. She says, I trust the legal process. I stand beside, and I trust accountability repairs relationships as well as houses. Cameras click. Ollie asks whether I'll press for jail time. I answer truthfully, I'll accept any outcome that safeguards my parents' legacy and Dieter's copycat fraud. Lydia's lawyer hustles her into a sedan. Trevor is nowhere, rumor suggests he bolted to a motel outside county lines. Marisol and I head to the Maple Street house. Deputies have taped entry logs to the door. Each step across creaking floorboards echoes the judge's order. In Mom's sewing room, Lydia quietly packs a jewelry box. She pauses, holding Dad's pocket watch, eyes glossy. Do you need that? I ask gently. She shakes her head, sets it back in the drawer, whispers, some things can't be sold. Body cam records silent understanding. For the first time in months, I feel a fracture healing. Back on the porch, Marisol signs paperwork for the historic landmark application. I already compiled it, including Dad's architectural sketches and city planning letters. She smiles. Once this house is landmarked, no developer can bulldoze it. I nod, feel December sun attempt to thaw. Dominoes continue, but the biggest have crashed, escrow cancelled, forged documents voided, public narrative corrected, legal shield in place. Yet 2 dominoes still teeter for the final cascade, criminal sentencing and the scholarship endowment, both hinges for Part 4. For now, I lock the front door, sign the deputy's chain of custody log, and breathe in cedar and old wallpaper glue. The house stands sturdy. So do I. 2 weeks glide by like sleet on glass, then shatter at once. Setback 1 lands the morning of Lydia's arraignment. She arrives in a beige wool coat, neutral as possible, but the prosecutor opens with a bombshell: Trevor has flipped. He signed a cooperation agreement at 7:12 a.m., handing over encrypted chat logs that map every fraudulent click. On the record, he admits forging my DocuSign profile and using an AI voice model named Sister Speak. The indictment now cites an organized scheme, enhancing Lydia's potential sentence under Minnesota Statute Section 609.527. Her attorney's face blanches, Lydia sways, catching the defense table to steady herself. I sit behind, heart-drumming sympathy and steel in equal measure. Setback 2 detonates before lunch. Brand Pulse, the influencer marketing platform that processes 90% of Lydia's sponsorship payments, emails her a contract termination letter. I know because the prosecutor files it as Exhibit G. Loss of future income establishes motive and contradicts any claim of accidental paperwork. The letter itemizes $312,400 in clawbacks for campaigns already paid but not yet delivered. Lydia's shoulders sag with each figure read. Money, image, predictability, the trinity she worshipped, now crumbles in a sterile courtroom full of strangers taking notes. Setback 3 erupts that afternoon in civil court. Trevor's creditors petition for emergency relief, naming Lydia as joint debtor for their co-signed crypto loan. Judge Morrissey freezes her personal checking accounts and, at Marisol's urging, places a lien on her Instagram revenue streams. I watch Lydia sign the notice of financial restraint, her manicured nails tremble, the pen squeaks against glossy paper. Across the aisle, Trevor refuses to meet her eyes. He stares at the floor, wrists shackled, perhaps realizing charisma can't hack federal algorithms. The climax of this cascade hits just after sunset. City Council's Heritage Commission convenes an emergency session on the Maple Street Victorian. I attend via Zoom, still in courthouse clothes. Preservation officers vote unanimously to grant interim landmark status, citing attempted fraudulent demolition. Lydia had hoped to convert Dad's workshop into a minimalist wine bar. The vote seals the building's shell forever. She texts me instantly, 5 words, they locked it in amber. I reply with our mother's own, protect the house. Read receipt never turns blue. That night, headline crawls flash, influencer indicted in family REAL estate forgery, partner turned state witness. Comment threads savage Trevor as Judas, Lydia as Marie Antoinette with a ring light. My phone chirps non-stop, but I slip it into airplane mode and sit cross-legged on the parlor's dusty floorboards, listening to winter wind rattle sash windows. The house feels lighter, as if each nail exhaled. But consequences aren't complete until the legal ledger balances. Sentencing looms, and I must prepare the final brace. March 14th, sentencing day, dawns bright and brittle. I walk to the courthouse beneath a sky the color of clean blueprints. Inside, Judge Samuels hears arguments on restitution. Prosecutor Whitaker cites damages, title insurer costs, contractor demobilization, Heritage Commission fees. Briggs pleads for leniency, painting Lydia as a misguided caretaker overwhelmed by probate complications. Samuels listens, chin perched on steepled fingers. Then Marisol stands and unveils our ace, Dad's 1998 unrecorded warranty deed, extracted from the time capsule 2 nights before, edges dirt-dusted yet text pristine. Retired Judge Holloway, stooped but sharp, testifies via Zoom that he witnessed Dad's signature and notarized with a now-retired embossing seal, still visible. The deed contains a clause Dad drafted himself. Any successor whosoever attempts to convey this property without unanimous consent shall forfeit their interest to the Clarkson Girls STEM Trust. The clause is quirky, unenforceable in normal conveyances, but suddenly pivotal. Prosecutor eyes widen, Briggs sputters. Judge Samuels reviews the parchment, then consults Minnesota precedent. She rules that while the forfeiture clause is unconventional, Lydia's quitclaim paired with her fraudulent attempt satisfies intent. She has, effectively, forfeited her stake already. Lydia's kneecaps seem to buckle. I steady my breathing. I did not expect Samuels to adopt the clause verbatim, only to note Dad's wishes. Yet she leans in, pen poised, and writes a line that becomes the story's signature flourish: defendant's relinquishment, voluntarily entered and amplified by decedent's express condition, shall be construed as irrevocable. Briggs requests a recess, denied. Whitaker moves to finalize restitution. $413,725 to the Scholarship Trust, covering legal costs, lien releases, and seed money, plus 3,000 hours of community service teaching financial literacy to at-risk youth. Samuels approves. Prison time remains. Sentencing guidelines suggest 24 months. Cooperation earns Lydia downward departure. Judge sets 15 months in Shakopee Women's Facility, eligible for work release after 9 if community service curriculum is established. Then Samuels turns to Trevor. Federal court will handle him, but she revokes his state bail, noting flight risk. Marshall stepped forward. He smirks at me as they lead him out. I feel no surge of triumph, just an engineer's satisfaction that stress calculations proved accurate. Before adjourning, Samuels addresses me directly. Ms. Harper Carver, your meticulous documentation safeguarded not only assets but local history. Let the record show vigilant stewardship is a form of public service. It feels like Dad's nod from somewhere unseen. Hammers fall. Cameras flash. Lydia is escorted to a side room for processing. We share a final look, hers watery remorse, mine tempered forgiveness. I mouth, build back, not sure she catches it. Outside, press cluster. I read a prepared line: when you put betrayal on the market, karma always closes the deal. It trends within the hour, captioning split-screen photos of Lydia's arrival and my exit. The Twist's echo arrives by email that evening. Heritage Commission fast-tracks full landmark status, contingent on the property becoming a STEM learning center. An anonymous donor, later revealed as my Seattle firm, pledges matching grants. Dad's quirky clause thus catalyzes not only restitution but reinvention. The Victorian will educate future engineers, its walls ringing with 3D printer hums instead of demolition hammers. 6 months later the house smells of sawdust again, but this time purposeful. I walk through wide halls now wired with fiber optics, listening to middle school girls gasp at their first levitating magnet experiment. Lydia's voice echoes from the refurbished sewing room, now a digital design lab, as she explains budgeting apps to a circle of teens. Shakopee granted her daytime release for community service, orange jumpsuit swapped for a gray polo embroidered with the trust logo, Honor House STEM. She still has 10 months left on the sentence, but purpose steadies her posture. We speak briefly at break. She thanks me for nerd curricula that saved her sanity. I tell her she's teaching it, not me. We share half a smile, small but real. Outside, marigolds bloom beside the rosebush named Honor. I replaced its soil after digging up Dad's deed, new roots already twined through black earth. A bronze plaque near the porch reads, Clarkson Girls STEM Trust, founded 2026, by benevolence and boundaries. I run my fingers over the engraving, feeling its permanence. Mom's scholarship now covers 20 students annually, fully funded through restitution and the anonymous corporate match. Dad's vinyl collection sits in a listening nook where visitors learn physics through sound waves. The house breathes new life, its heartbeat steady. As for me, I split weeks, 3 days designing seismic retrofits in Seattle, for here teaching structural logic workshops. When jet lag bites, I play Dad's old pocket watch, tick steady, reminder that time is just engineered rhythm. Lydia's Instagram? Still active, but follower count halved. She posts once a week, no filters, sharing budgeting tips and reflections on authenticity. Comments are kinder than I expected. People sense sincerity in broken glass mosaics. I've learned revenge isn't demolition, it's renovation. You tear down rot, shore up beams, and invite light through windows long painted shut. The moral, repeated by every 6th grader before leaving Honor House, still makes me grin. When you put betrayal on the market, karma always closes the deal, and sometimes flips it into a classroom. So, what do you think? Was Evelyn's renovation of Justice solid or savage? Got a plot twist of your own? Write it down in the comments, and you might star next episode. Thanks for watching.